When you say Mustang tuners, you automatically think of, you know, typically Shelby, some may think of Saline, and maybe even this one. This is a 2022 Ford Mustang GT that has been tuned, or I should say tuned, by Roush. So another company, as I said, among the tuning companies that do Mustang stuff. Roush has been around for, I want to say, the better part of the last 20-25 years, and to some people they're really coveted. They love the Roush Mustangs. Others may say that, well, Roush is cool, but they don't do enough. And this thing here is honestly the best example of a kind of mix of both of those things. So let's go ahead and take a look at this thing, and then we're really going to decide if this is truly worth the Roush moniker, or if it's just a, basically we put lipstick on a pig. So as I said, this is a 2022 Ford Mustang GT, and the first thing you'll notice is that it has a different bumper. So I love doing this because this is what a factory Mustang GT with the performance pack looks like. So you see that front bumper, you have the slats in here, you have these little winglets, which actually aren't really vents or anything. But on the Roush Mustang, it has the same front bumper, but it has a redesigned front grille. As you guys can see, there's no slats or anything. You have redesigned side so the lights are the same as the normal ones, but they changed a little. These are actual vents now. They have little radiators in there, so that's cool. You do get this more prolonged front lip that says Roush on it. That one doesn't have it. You do get a different style hood. It has vents in it, or at least these vents are actually functional. These ones, while they do some stuff, they don't really do much. And also, of course, you get that big Roush logo on the windshield. You do, on the fenders, also get these cooling ducts, and they are functional because they're made to dissipate heat from inside the motor, or not inside the motor, but the engine bay. So they're actual functional vents, which is cool. You get that Roush logo. It is a normal side skirt, as the regular Mustangs do have. You do get these upgraded wheels, which if you're into that kind of thing, that's cool. But if you don't really care for wheels much, then it is what it is. But these are 275 35 20s, and they are, as I said, Roush specific wheels. So they're not like, you know, some companies may use different kinds, like they may use American Racing or anything. These are specifically made by Roush. They are forged wheels, so they're cool. But I think maybe 20 might be a little bit too big. I mean, honestly, it's a good size. The thing does get traction pretty good, so I mean, it is not too bad. We do get this really nice American flag back here. I like that touch a lot. Around the back, you guys will notice that it's got a little bit of an improved diffuser down there. Not crazy, not to the extent of the Shelbys or anything, but you do also get a performance exhaust, which we'll talk about once we get inside of it. And it does say Roush, and then you get this little deck lid. And that's it. Aside from all that, it just kind of looks like a regular Mustang with, you know, some little touch-ups, like, I don't know, maybe very subtle, very conservative touch-ups. So it's nothing crazy. This isn't like, you know, the wide body Shelbys that they sell or anything. And I keep comparing it to Shelbys because technically that's another tuning company for the Mustangs. While, you know, Shelby is synonymous with Ford, it's sort of, they're seen as an aftermarket to the Mustang, as this is technically. So let's go ahead and hop inside, and I'll show you guys to the further extent of the Roushification of this Mustang. So this thing starts out life as a 2022 Mustang GT premium performance pack. So it's basically almost fully loaded. You do get full leather seats, and because it has a performance pack, you do get those gauges up there. You get the full digital dash because of the options that it has. But Roush goes ahead and takes the regular seats, the regular leather seats, and they sort of transform them. So they do their own little upholstery on them, and it says Roush over here. It's like sort of diamond stitched. It's kind of cool. You do get some suede over here, so it's not bad. It is, you know, it depends on how you feel about aftermarket interiors. They do the rear seats as well. But aside from all that, that's pretty much it. You get a little nice badge on here that says MagnaRide. This is the exhaust button. And then right there, it's signed by Jack Roush, the creator of Roush. So that's it. It's not, you know, you don't get anywhere else in here that screams, oh, it's a different Mustang. Aside from the seats and, you know, these minor little touches, it's a regular Mustang interior. It's nothing crazy. And to some, that might be a good thing, because some people may be like, oh, I really like the Mustang interior, especially the premium ones, so why change if it's not broken? And, you know, that is a valid argument. I can see that. But to start it up, of course, like every other Mustang that we've ever done, you just put your foot on the brake and push the button down here. A typical Mustang startup. It is a 5-liter Coyote, as I said. And the first thing you guys are gonna, so this is your active exhaust toggle button. And now we're in touring, so it's pretty quiet. But with a flick of a button, let's say you want to go crazy or maybe turn it to track mode, you can automatically hear the baffles open. Let me show you guys. So that's touring, that's track, and when you rev it up, it does open the baffles up. It'll let you hear it more pronounced. You know, it's definitely a louder exhaust note. Now, to me personally, I don't think it's louder than, honestly, the factory Mustang, which is weird. So if you get the you know, the adjustable exhaust, or the exhaust you can get through the Mustang, you know, from the factory, the valved exhaust, it sounds basically like that. They just give you a toggle button over here. But the thing is, if you look up here, there's an actual app you can download for the Roush, and it'll basically tell you everything. So you download the app, it's called the Active Exhaust app, and when you do that, you can custom, see down here it says custom, you can configure your own exhaust options. So you can make it louder, maybe at higher RPMs, quieter when you're cruising, stuff like that. So that's cool that they let you do that to basically mess with the exhaust system. But at the end of the day, you kind of have to ask yourself, is it much different than the regular one? But I mean, that's up to you guys. And we've already discussed Mustang interiors to an extent. I think what we have to do now is, let me set up the camera and let's go out for a drive so you guys can really hear what this thing sounds like. And then we could talk about this thing, the MagnaRide. You guys know MagnaRide, a lot of people love it. It's basically a full configurable suspension as you're driving. That's the best way I can describe it, because if you want it comfortable, it could be comfortable, but when you take it to the track and you want it to corner really good, it could do that as well. So let me talk about MagnaRide when we get on the road. Let me set everything up, and then let's go ahead and hop on the road, and we'll continue talking about this thing. So setting off in the 2022 Roush Mustang GT, first thing I gotta say is I honestly like this exhaust toggle. Now, while this may just be the factory exhaust, it's honestly a lot easier doing it from here, just having it, you know, basically a flick of a button, than me having to go into the menu and just adjusting the exhaust and all that from quiet and all that. So whatever, it saves me the 5 seconds of just flipping the toggle. So I guess I do like that. That's convenient. It's right next to the shifter. I like that. But I don't know if that's enough to justify calling this a Roush Mustang. So right now I have the exhaust in sport mode, and of course it's like any normal Mustang. It sounds good. You hear the nice growl. It's not crazy loud. It's not like that Kenny Bell one where it was just raspy and loud, and you know, it sounded great, but not, it sounds great when you want it to, but on that Kenny Bell, it was just like that constantly loud. This one, you can adjust it. So if you want it to be loud, you're at the track, you want it to be crazy, you can, but then when you're cruising, like let's say right now on the highway, and you flick it to touring mode, it's quiet. It just, you know, it sounds like an EcoBoost Mustang, honestly. It's quiet. It's not crazy, it's not obnoxious, and like I mentioned, we got to talk about the MagnaRide. So the original, I guess, the Mustang that's kind of started with this MagnaRide was the GT350, and then in 2018, Ford allowed customers to option MagnaRide on the EcoBoost and on the GT. And MagnaRide is just, it's honestly one of the best suspension systems for being so what's the word I'm looking for, it's able to do everything all at once. So if you want the car to be soft, you want the car to be nice and just comfortable when you're cruising down the road, let's say you're driving, you know, coast to coast, it could do that. Then also on the same, you know, on the same plane, you hop on the track and you want to just be able to do laps and be competitive, you can flick it into like track mode and it can become very, you know, basically track oriented. It'll stiffen up, it's crazy how MagnaRide works. Now think about a regular, let's say, shock and spring system. So you have a shock absorber in the spring. When you're traveling, the shock just compresses and there's fluid inside the shock, which, you know, or sort of softens the ride. It just depends on, I guess, the stiffness of the shock that you get. With MagnaRide, there's fluid inside of it, of course, as any other shocks, but there's a difference between, it sort of mixes these components with, it has iron and another component that it mixes, and it can change the way it's set up in literally milliseconds. It goes like that. So if you want to be, you know, soft and everything, it could do that. And then within a split millisecond, if you switch it to track mode, it'll stiffen up and it'll become a track focused weapon. So that's why MagnaRide, honestly, in my opinion, is one of the best suspension systems out there, because it's so versatile. It can do anything very well, and it can do it very quickly. So great thing about this one is that while it does have MagnaRide from the factory, it is sort of upgraded by Roush. It has a, you know, extra suspension component, so it handles very well. The car steers really well, and I like how it drives. Now there are some, I guess you can, I honestly, maybe not even, they're not performance modifications, because the motor is completely stock. There's no anything aftermarket. The exhaust is stock, the airbox is stock. The only performance modification, I guess you can say, this car has is there's an upgraded transmission cooler and a active rear differential cooler. So that's good, because, like, let's say, as we said, you're on the track, whether you're drag stripping or you're, you know, doing laps, it's sort of a road course, it'll keep the transmission and the rear diff cool, so you don't end up overheating, you don't end up burning clutches or whatever. So that's good. You know, they really did think about that. That's sort of a performance thing. So how I would classify this Mustang is that this is sort of the all-arounder. So you can go crazier with Roush. They do sell superchargers and everything. You can go wild. But in my opinion, this specific one is the all-around Roush. So you're looking for a car that is a little bit more special than a regular Mustang. You're looking for a car that can be versatile on the track and off the track, but then also you can take it to dinner on Friday night. You could go out with it. You could take it to a movie. You can do whatever you want with it. This is probably the best one, because right now I have it it's in regular mode, basically in touring mode or whatever, and it's really comfortable in here. I mean, the suspension just absorbs everything in the road. Sure, it's not going to be, you know, as soft as a Rolls Royce, because this is still a sports car, but for a sports car, it's really comfortable. I mean, I'm sitting in here, no problem. I don't, you know, going over these imperfections in the road, you don't really feel them as much. It's not crazy. But then again, as I said, if I switch it to track mode on the exhaust over here, or even in the mode section, if I put it in track mode or in drag strip mode, it just goes, you know, flips a 180 and it becomes a track animal. So I like it a lot. I'm honestly a big fan of this MagnaRide suspension. I think it's very versatile, and while the engine may be stock, it's just a regular 5.0 Mustang, you know, with the 10 speed. So we know it's reliable. We know it could do whatever you want it to do. It's been around for a while now, but yeah, I mean, that's honestly pretty much it. That's the best way I would describe this thing. This is the all-around Roush Mustang. It does everything you want it to do. It's very versatile. You can daily drive it. You can also take it to the track. So I want to know what you guys think. Let me know down below. Would you guys go ahead and buy a Roush Mustang, or are you kind of like, That's a lot of money for basically a factory Mustang, and I don't think you guys should judge it like that until you truly drive one of these, because until you see how versatile this Mustang is, it's not fair to judge it and be like, oh, it's just a factory Mustang, because you haven't driven it. You know, there's a lot of things done to it that are just one step above a regular Mustang. So think about it. This is like the Mach 1, or this is like the Bullet Mustang was when Ford did it, because while it's a factory Mustang, it does have those upgraded, you know, cooling components. You do have the different wheels, you do have the better interior, or, you know, the upgraded interior. It makes it more special. So when you pull up to a Cars and Coffee, you're not just driving a regular old GT Mustang, you're driving a Roush Mustang. And it is labeled, there is a serial number on the dash that you guys, you know, can be like, oh, this thing is a true Roush car. So yeah, definitely let me know down below, you guys. I want to know what you guys all think about the Roush Mustang. Is it something you consider buying, or is this just, as we said, is it a sort of just lipstick on a pig? I don't think so. I think it truly is a special car, but let me know down below. Let me know what you guys think. I'd love to see all the comments, hear what you guys think, and we'll go from there. So thank you guys all so much for watching this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take it easy.